Hey, babe. So we're using social justice and the pandemic to try and change the narrative on how we view some of you ladies? Okay, let's talk about basketball wives. So the show opens up with a few of the ladies hanging out with their kids and their family, but we're going to go ahead and skip down to Miss Malaysia and Kristen. Now, what we learned is that Kristen has moved to Atlanta. I said, dang, LA getting a little expensive for y'all, ain't it? Girl, she getting a bit expensive. Girl, I understand, honey. You still want the fast life, but you want the cheap life too. So we get it, honey. The ladies are at Malaysia's house. They on the back porch, honey. They sitting down, getting them some sunlight, having a good conversation, talking about how they miss the collective, how they miss the ladies, how they miss just being around them, having a good old time, and how the pandemic has just pretty much messed up everything. Malaysia brings up Cece and how she got married and how beautiful she looked. And y'all notice Kristen didn't have nothing to offer to the conversation aside from the fact that Cece did indeed look beautiful. So she did not obviously get an invitation to the wedding. She was not there. But okay, girl. Kristen tells Malaysia, like, girl, I went to the George Floyd event, the protest and stuff, and I really wanted you to attend and you didn't show up, and I was a bit disappointed. Malaysia said, well, I got dressed, I was headed out the door, but it just hit me all of a sudden. Like, it started to remind me, I started to have anxiety about my brother being murdered in a similar fashion. So I couldn't go. Like, it was just too much for me. I couldn't go. And Kristen was like, well, girl, I wasn't really disappointed in you not being there. I was more so disappointed in the fact that you didn't get to meet some of the people that I wanted you to meet. Other people that have been through similar situations such as yourself. And Malaysia understands that, but she still kind of really wasn't in the place fully to be there with those other people. And I think once again, it was just the anxiety of all of it. But I also feel like she shouldn't feel bad, for not going, because girl, we in a whole pandemic as well. Like, I know you want me to go and protest and stuff, and I get that, girl, but it's also still a pandemic out here in these streets too. And if she having anxiety and everybody grieves in different ways, like if she couldn't make it, she just couldn't make it. Like, it is what it is on that. But we did learn more about her brother, because I do remember the episode, like, seasons ago, where her brother was indeed murdered in the park and how that affected her and stuff. And she did mention that he was shot, like, was it 17? No, he was 17 years old. I'm not sure how many times he got shot, but he had a screwdriver in his pocket. He was at the park. He was getting ready to pull it out. The police officers thought he had a gun, and then he just got gunned down. And that was so unfortunate, like 17 years old, 17 at a park. And y'all couldn't go have a conversation with somebody like that right there. Like, girl, I don't know if I probably would never get over that. Never. So Evelyn has finally found a new home in a gated community. She is going to be relocating there. She's still pressed about everything that happened with OG and continuing to victimize herself. And I am just a bit confused at how hard it is for her to just acknowledge what she did and to simply apologize. See, what it is she wasn't used to somebody getting the best of her motherfucking ass. Okay, so now she's trying to ride this victim train out as much as she can. And I just think it's whack. Like, you ain't do that with nobody else. You were so big, bad, and ready to fight and do all this other stuff, but now you finally met your match. You want to sit up here and put out, lawsuits and stuff instead of just acknowledging what it is that you did. Use this moment to learn, because if a person is telling you, this is what I've experienced, this is how I'm feeling, and you just automatically that ain't what it was, and blah, 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 and I'm going to sue you and this and that, like you wasn't even open to having to sit down or any type of understanding when it comes to that. So, I mean, I'm glad OG countersued you, which is what we're learning, throughout the episode. And in addition to that, I have to say, like, it really could have been a learning moment for Evelyn. It could have been a learning moment for, I guess, maybe both of the ladies to, learn more about each other, understand each other, whatever we're coming from, whatever. Because for me, primarily for Evelyn, is what OG was saying, America was already feeling that way about you, Evelyn. In addition to that, America, when this situation happened, like especially on season 9, they really lit fire under your ass. And that's the thing. I think you think that OG shaped how America saw you, which is why you wanted to put this lawsuit out, but they were already feeling that way about you. And then now they're fully witnessing this about you. Okay, they're witnessing the actions of what you've done. So they didn't need OG to say anything. Had OG not spoken up, they would have spoken up for her, and America would have still been on your ass. So you're trying to, once again, like I've said before, penalize this lady for how we truly see you. And I used to be a stan of Evelyn. I used to love Evelyn down. But this situation happened, I didn't need OG to say anything. I already knew how y'all saw her, how y'all thought differently of her. all of that, because she is the darkest woman on the show. She doesn't have the most beautiful features as some of y'all may deem as beautiful. So it's like I already knew that y'all was gonna be coming at her sideways, and you just put it out there, and people called it out for what it was, which happens to be, you know, colorism in their eyes and racism to some. So OG just, it was what it was. She happened to speak it out on the show, but America already saw you for your works, and you just trying to penalize her, you know, for your own actions. And I wish Jen, bibbity bobbity boo headed ass, would have sued you as well for some form of assault, since you want to sit out here and put charges out about people. But we gonna move on. So we at Kristen's house, and Kristen invites a lady by the name of Monteria over to her home. And this is going to be a perfect opportunity for Malaysia to meet Monteria because of her situation, which is similar to Malaysia's situation. Malaysia's brother was gunned down by the police, and here it is, Monteria's son was gunned down by the Atlanta police. And that is completely crazy. And he was shot 76 times. Like, what the? How you shot? That's overkill. That is overkill. That was an intent there. That was a strong intent there. Malaysia arrives. The two ladies talk. They connect. They get emotional once Monteria tells her story and how she wished she could go back to when her kids were much, much younger. You know, and I will say this. I appreciate them for like highlighting this. But some part of me still feel away because of, I guess, you know how like some people say, good advice, wrong messenger type thing. Like, that's what I get from Basketball Wives. Like, all these times y'all could have used y'all platform for better. Y'all wait until y'all are under scrutiny and people are digging in y'all ass, and now y'all want to try and change the narrative. And what a perfect time for a lot of protests to happen, especially during the pandemic, so you guys can try and use that to try and change up the narrative on the show. But then some part of me is like, can we fully fault them? You know, because we've dragged them so much for their antics, and now they're trying to give people something different. It's like people are still complaining about that. So it is like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. You know, but hey, it is what it is. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts about that down below. I'll say this though, I think it is completely absurd, has been absurd, completely unfair, and any other negative term that I can come up with, place it there. As far as police being able to get away with as many murders as they have gotten away with. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. And to not serve any form of justice to the victims is so weird to me. People can go to prison for less. Hear what it is I say. People go to prison for association. But when you clearly have a true crime here where a police went above and beyond his call of duty, his or her call of duty, they not locked up, they not sentenced, they're nothing, they're getting off, they get shown the most amount of leniency. And we understand why y'all doing it, because y'all trying to continue to portray a certain image of the police as if they're in high authority, as if human life doesn't mean anything. And those police officers are human before they police. So I'm still confused as to how you value those over than what you value these over here. That makes no sense. Like that, I'm just like, that's so stupid to me. And the fact that this lady's son was shot 76 times, as I said before, that was overkill. There was an intent to make sure this person was dead. So you mean to tell me justice has yet to be served on an overkill with an intent? Because a lot of people go to prison based on an intent. Yeah, that shit ain't adding up for me. Okay, and shout out to his mama, because I hope she continue to keep her foot on their motherfucking neck. Period. So it's a struggle, you know, trying to get certain laws changed, trying to make sure these people over here that think they above the law actually be sentenced for the shit that they do. You know, I don't understand that. That'd be crazy. Like, you could have some police officers that murder their mates, and then y'all see that you'll have some police officers, they'll murder their mates or husband or wife or whatever, and they'll turn around and they'll be sentenced because you guys will do the proper research and all this other stuff and make sure you find out who's guilty, who's not. So why is that any different from somebody else that was gunned down on the street by a police officer? Why not take the necessary steps to actually do the research, do the proper investigation? And if they wrong, they must be wrong. But like I said, we understand why you guys are doing this, is because you're trying to continue to display the police as though they are one of the highest authorities. So it's like, girl, let me just get off this subject, because I feel like I could talk about this all day. Okay, I could talk about this all day. So let me just, honey. let's move on. So Evelyn decides she was going to hit up Shani, tell Shani she want to go link up with all the ladies. So then after that, she decided to call Friday, Malaysia, Liza, and whoever else to tell them like, hey, I want to do this event. But then she ended up telling Fettuccine and Malaysia like, girl, listen, I'm going to invite Jackie. How y'all feel about that? So both of the ladies was kind of like, you know, like, it's cool, whatever, you know. I don't know which Jackie I'm going to get on this trip. But if that's what you want to do, girl, it's whatever. I'm just glad to get out the house and away from these kids, even though we in a whole pandemic and they likely still in school or whatever. So I'm just glad to like get away from them, and maybe one of their family members can help them with their homework or something like that, because I'm done trying to play teacher right now. So we can move on and go to the next thing, girl. What time you want me to be there, and what time is my flight, and how many bags do I need to pack? Okay. And we saw Miss Fettuccine over there packing up them hangers. I said, look at Fettuccine, girl, she over there, she just took her whole closet of hangers. You can tell she put no thought into that. She just grabbed some shit out the closet and threw it in the bag. I said, so you gonna take all them damn hangers with you, so they ain't gonna have no hangers at where you going? Okay, that's what you gonna do. Well, all right, good luck. Evelyn then calls Jackie, tells Jackie about it. Jackie is completely down. Jackie says, are you inviting everybody? Evelyn says, yes, I am. I'm inviting everyone. Now, we also see that Miss Jen, honey, Jen asked to move to ATL too. I said, what the fuck? All right, so y'all about to do a Basketball Wives of Atlanta? Is that what's going to be next? Basketball Wives of Atlanta? Because we know well ATL is shooting down here. Now, I don't know if they shooting in LA. Okay, but production is happening in ATL. So is that why y'all trying to migrate over here? What are y'all doing? Are y'all leaving LA and come here? What are y'all doing here? Okay, girl, so Jen here, she invited Kristen over. They're going to sit down and have a good old kiki, good old conversation with each other about Nathaniel, but let's get into it. So when Kristen gets in the house, she asks Jennifer, girl, what's up with this Range Rover situation, honey? I saw something online. I don't really know what's going on, girl. Tell me. So Jennifer was like, well, I was dating this guy, and when I was talking to him, I gave him my Range Rover. I was just letting him use it. And girl, I never saw my Range Rover again. Like, he never even gave it back to me. I was like, are you serious? And this guy just put me through so much stuff, but it's all good because I'm doing a documentary. I'm going to do a documentary on him, expressing everything, that I've been through. And Kristen just looking at her like, girl, really? So who do you think gonna really be interested in a documentary about you and your life? Okay, girl. Whatever it is you want to do, girl. Who the hell am I? Go ahead. You got it. That's you. So Kristen decides to open up to Jen and let her know, like, I don't know if you know, but Evelyn is inviting everybody on a girls trip. So we're all going to do that. And it should be really fun. Jen is like, well, I already know about that because Jackie already told me. Jackie called me and said she's getting a house. Jackie's getting a house? Really? I thought Evelyn was getting a house. Well, Jackie said she getting a house too. And Jackie also said that I'm going to be in her house and OG is going to be in her house. So it's going to be us three and she's going to have a whole separate house. Yeah. Then Jen goes on to say, I just don't want no issues with these bitches. Kristen said, well, wait a minute, girl, you may want to leave Malaysia out them bitches. So I don't know what bitches you talking about, but you can leave Malaysia out. Excuse me? Don't come to my house and tell me what it is that I can say, because this is my motherfucking house. And if I want to call them bitches, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call them bitches. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of this shit. Like, I'm not trying to deal with none of that. Listen, you just be prepared for the unknown because you don't really know them bitches like that. And they'll turn on you at any chance they get. Next, we can see OG at the house with her family. She cooking this really good old meal, okay? They over there chowing down, honey. So obviously, whatever Miss OG was over there cooking, it was really good. So OG tells them about how she's a bit stressed because of the entire lawsuit with Miss E. So she sat down with her attorney. She learned what the first lawsuit Miss E is trying to put forth. So I'm like, first, is it supposed to be more than one lawsuit that Miss E trying to put out there on you? What's going on? So her and her attorney discussed whatever the plaintiff is trying to put out on the table. She said it's a bit stressful because she works so hard for a lot of the things that she has, or everything that she has, and she could potentially lose it all due to a situation from somebody like Evelyn, someone who has exhibited certain behavior that OG as well as the rest of America has called called out, and she could really lose it all to a liar, you know. So she's just really stressed about that, impressed about that. But despite the fact that she's going through that situation, she mentions to the family that Jackie invited her on a girls trip. Everybody's going to be there, but they're going to have 2 separate houses, and she wants to go. Her mom is kind of like, well, hopefully everybody goes with the good intentions and they just leave that BS behind. And her man Kwame is like, and I think her brother were pretty much like, yeah, hopefully you can go and everybody can grow up from there, and you know, it could be a good thing, and at least she has a separate home. And she's looking forward to going to see if she could have certain conversations and just see, you know, where they can go from there. So after Kristen found out this information from Jen, she decides to call Evelyn to clue Evelyn in on everything. So she tells Evelyn that Jackie is coming, Jackie's getting her own house. Evelyn was like, oh, she is? She was like, yeah, she getting her own house. But girl, that's not it, honey. Not only is she getting her own house, she invited Jen and she invited OG. Evelyn says, oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't want to be anywhere near OG. I don't want to have anything to do with that girl. Like, I've been in a lot of beats. And nobody has ever said that to me, like, ever. But Evelyn, y'all have also not had anyone that looked like OG to appear on the show. In addition to that, y'all have not treated OG as you've treated the other ladies. Like, y'all calling her, oh, she's aggressive and all this other stuff. Like, even if she wants to have a conversation with you, you guys misunderstand her tone and everything. And see, you be ready to get up in any bitch face that's been on the show prior. Anybody. But you couldn't do that to her. So now you feel threatened because once again, you've met your match, and we're going to be saying that over and over. We will be a broken record over here, girl. Kristen is continuing to cap for Evelyn, and she's like, girl, I, as a dark brown woman, I've never experienced anything of what LG is talking about, so I don't even know. Girl, two different things, girl. How OG looks, how you look, how you're perceived by society versus how she's perceived by society, girl. No, ma'am. 2 different things. Yeah, y'all dark, but y'all are highly different. She's a darker tone than you. Y'all have 2 different textures of hair, ma'am. Let's be very clear. Y'all both can walk into the store at the same time, and you're gonna be the one they're not gonna follow. They're gonna follow her. But okay then, bitch. Y'all keep saying that shit, sounding dumb. Just go over there and do your social justice if that's what you want to be about, and you can just stay out of the conversations of what's going on with OG. Okay? Malaysia has a sit down with her children, trying to talk to them about police brutality, what their understanding of it is, talk to them about how her brother was murdered. In addition to, should she get stopped by the police, what should their reaction be? In addition to, should they bust in her home, what should their reaction be? That was a tough conversation to have, especially with your small, innocent children, that you got to prepare them for something like that when you got these other people that's not black. They children just be out here, can live their life and do what the hell they want to do and roam and this, that, and the only thing they got to worry about is, God forbid, being kidnapped by some damn body. Okay, so yeah, they out here just living their life. So that was like a really tough conversation to have, and I commend her for being able to have that conversation with her kids in the best fashion that she knew she could have with her children. But I will say this, Malaysia, you ain't get no sympathy from me, not wholeheartedly, girl. Okay, because you still been out here running amok. Okay. You out here asking them what would they do if the police came in. I understand that completely, but I wonder what they would have did had they saw you pick up their goddamn table and threw it at Jen. But that's just, you know, what I think, you know. But I hear you. I appreciate the conversation you had with your kids, but I'm still looking at you like this. Okay, girl. All right. Okay. Now we see you. Go ahead. You got it. OG, we can see her at the house with her man, and we do hear her say that she has an issue. She has an issue with people denying the fact that colorism has happened. And I was with OG all day long, and I was afraid that she's very strong-minded for the most part, but I was afraid that people were going to try to convince her, i.e. Jackie, that what she experienced wasn't what she experienced. And if you experienced it, what did New York say? Stand in it in all shades, okay? So if you experienced it, stand in it. Don't let nobody change your mind about your experience and how you felt. How they may have perceived it on the outside, that's their ass. But the rest of America, we perceived it exactly how you perceived it, OG. So I don't know what the Jackie and Miss Kristen over there talking about. The difference is that OG called you hoes out for your works. And I'm sure she's not the first person that felt the way. And even if that wasn't the case, y'all still be fucking bullying people like that's okay? Like y'all ain't bully Angel Breeks and a lot of other ladies that came on the show. Girl, get the fuck ASAP. But all in all, OG is getting ready to pack for this trip. She says that she's going to work on her mindset. She's going to try to be a bit more open. And she just wants them to know that their behavior is not okay. So OG is now seeming to come from a place of wanting to make sure that she can teach you some things and that y'all be open to understanding, and she will be open to understanding, and it could be a learning moment for everybody. And I hope that Shani doesn't miss that mark, but I feel like that mark is going to be missed, especially with Evelyn, and especially with the fact that Evelyn is not willing to film with her, and the fact that she also has this lawsuit. And I need people to stop talking about Evelyn ain't no colorist, Evelyn ain't no colorist or whatever. Here's the thing. Just because she has black children and she likes black men and she has a few black friends does not mean that she cannot display colorism towards another woman, okay, or towards another person. That doesn't mean anything. That's just like a racist saying, oh, well, I have black friends. Bitch, I don't give a fuck what you got. This is how you're acting. This is what you're displaying. Okay, let's be clear about that. In addition, whether Evelyn is a racist or not, I will say this. I feel like the verdict is still out about that. Like, a lot of us do not believe that she's Afro-Latina. So we just believe that she's just a Latina woman. So it's like, is she exhibiting racism? We got to get to the bottom of that. Shit, is she even black? Goddamn. Because if she not, then yeah. If she is, then it's colorism. So we will have to figure out, those different layers of what the fuck is Evelyn to begin with. But what we can guarantee at the end of the day is that her behavior towards OG was completely different than a lot of the other ladies that she's had arguments with, and really what OG experienced as a whole with the group. OG experienced this as a whole with the group. She called out everybody, not just Evelyn, but I find it funny that Evelyn is the only one that's suing her. Oh, okay then, girl. Okay, so you were out of line. It was what it was. I said what I said. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts about this entire episode of Basketball Wives. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling about the episode, the review. I'm jamithatsme. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.